Hello, friends. Welcome into Minnesota Vikings Now by Chat Sports. I am Tom Downey, and today's video begins with Kyler Murray trade rumors as the Cardinals' presumed franchise QB deleted everything Cardinals related from his social media, kept up on Instagram a gallery of him at the Pro Bowl and him with a Heisman Trophy kind of celebration photo, and nothing related particularly to Arizona. Does not follow them on social media either. Ian Rappaport reached out to Murray's agent, who had no comment. Now, I'm not sure if that was just did not respond, thus no comment, or was asked and said no comment. There is a difference there, because if it's the latter, that makes it interesting. Murray's got 2 years left on his deal. He is eligible, by the way, for an extension. A very decently good chance that that's all this is. This is a ploy to get Murray paid right now, immediately, cash in on a 45 maybe, $million per year deal. Murray was really good to open up this season. Looked like a top 10, if not better, QB. There was some MVP buzz. He did cool down significantly, though, as the year went on. But we know he is a dynamic, dual threat, offers you high upside. I don't believe we've seen the best, not even maybe close to it, of Kyler Murray so far in a young NFL career. You'd probably argue that Murray right now is better than what Kirk Cousins is at the current moment, and you would probably argue that Murray has more upside to reach a higher ceiling, if you will, than Kirk Cousins at this point. So, as many Minnesota Vikings fans we've seen on social media ask for the Minnesota Vikings to go pursue Kyler Murray, let's explore it in depth. Beginning with this, a trade would be expensive because you are, in theory, locking in and then paying, of course, your top 10 whatever franchise QB for 10 plus years. Getting that guy, that is valuable. That is very, very valuable for an organization that I promise you in Minnesota or in Arizona doesn't want to move on, I would assume, from Kyler Murray. So here's my trade package, and yes, it is expensive. Minnesota, of course, they get Kyler Murray. Duh, no surprise on that front. Arizona, they get Kirk Cousins because you got to get rid of him if you're bringing on Kyler. It's a big contract, by the way, maybe not ideal for the Cardinals. 3 first-round picks. Now, Minnesota's first rounder does carry some value, but those last 2 you figure are going to be in the 20s in the end. And if you're going to against a team like maybe Philadelphia or the Giants, you're going to have to give up more first-rounders than they will because your first-rounders aren't as valuable this year, and you've only got 1 to handle at this point. So what do you think? Would you trade for Kyler Murray? Type in Y for yes or type in N for no. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Let's talk now about the coaching staff for Minnesota. Jeremy Fowler sent this out earlier this morning that Ed Donatel has emerged as the favorite for the Vikings defensive coordinator spot. Sources tell him and Dan Graziano, Seattle, which was hiring Donatel as a defensive assistant, is now bracing to lose him. And new coach Kevin O'Connell gets plenty of experience on defense. Here's what Donatel's done in recent years. He was the Broncos defensive coordinator under the Vic Fangio style scheme from 2019 to 2021. The Bears DB's coach under Vic Fangio from 2015-2018. Same role in San Francisco and Denver again. He's followed Vic Fangio around for a long time, who I'd love to hire, but I'm very maybe confused, surprised that Fangio maybe ends up in Miami, but things have been pretty quiet around him. Was also the Washington football team, then the Redskins, now Commanders, of course, back in 2008. So he has experience in this role. Now, he's not the only linked guy to the Vikings defense coordinator role. Remember, they can't actually hire the head coach, Kevin O'Connell, until after the Super Bowl, but he's the guy. That's been made very clear at this point. Other interviews. Anthony Weaver has interviewed already. He is the Ravens run game coordinator / defensive line coach. Aubrey Pleasant, the current Lions passing game coordinator / secondary coach. And Mike Pettin was linked by Jason La Canfora, like we mentioned previously. Pretty quiet around his name at this point. Maybe another big-time L for Jason La Canfora. But who do you guys want as the Vikings defensive coordinator? That's kind of your candidates list right there. Head down to the comment section. Pick a name for me. Who do you want to hire as the new Vikings DC? On the offensive side of the ball, we've got this name from Chris Thomason, the longtime Vikings beat writer. I am told him to keep an eye out for the Vikings OC is indeed Rams passing game coordinator / tight end coach Wes Phillips. Wade's son was with Kevin O'Connell at Washington 2017-18 Rams, and with Washington when Kirk Cousins was there. But Wes could also be a candidate to replace Kevin O'Connell. There is plenty of Kirk Cousins overlap with this current regime, which we'll spend some more time on later on in today's video. Here's what Phillips has done recently. He took over as the Rams passing game coordinator this year, has held the tight ends coach job since 2019. Previously was same role for Washington. Cowboys assistant coach, both tight ends and then assistant offensive line coach under his dad way back when. Now, today's show is powered by our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use the promo code you guys see right there, chat125. When you put down at least $100, they're going to give you an extra $125 for free. If you put down more than $100, it's more than $125. It just matches the 125% up to $600. You can bet on, well, the Super Bowl, right? The Rams with soon-to-be officially head coach Kevin O'Connell are a 4-point favorite. I would assume we're rooting for LA to help us feel good about Kevin O'Connell, but you can bet on them or against them. Just do it with BetUS. Promo code chat125 at chatsports.com/bet. We get defense, offense, now front office. Ryan Grigson is joining the Vikings in a to-be exactly specified senior personnel position. Now, Grigson and new GM Kwesi Adofo-Mensah overlap together in Cleveland. This is more experience for a still rather inexperienced GM in Adofo-Mensah. Here's what Grigson has done in recent years. He was a senior football advisor for the Browns, a senior football consultant for Seattle, where he spent some time previously, a senior personnel executive for the Browns, general manager for the Colts from 2012 to 2016. If we're being honest, that role it didn't go very well. Not the way that I think Grigson was hoping it was going to go. He was also the director of player personnel in Philadelphia, also the director of college scouting before that, way back when, over 10 years ago. Now, if you want more Vikings videos, news, rumors, trades, cuts, free agents, etc., you've come to the right spot. Hit that big red button and subscribe today for free Vikings videos all off-season long. Let's now turn our attention to the future of Kirk Cousins, as things are murky, I would argue, as it relates to the future of the Vikings' current quarterback. Kevin O'Connell reportedly is high on Kirk Cousins as that team's QB. There was a brief overlap there. He was the Washington football team's quarterback's coach in the final year that Kirk Cousins was in Washington, that 2017 campaign. So there is that connection there. The problem for Minnesota is this. He has a $45 million cap hit. That's not a cap hit you really want. So you want to either try like hell to trade Kirk Cousins or enter a bit of a rebuilding period where you're going to eat that big cap hit, move on next year, maybe add a dead year, then try to cut him. You could always try something like that. I'm not sure Kirk Cousins wants to do that, although it'd be pretty similar money for him either way. And I'll make this note too. Minnesota's new decision makers, Kevin O'Connell, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, are young. You might be more prepared to enter a rebuilding process with younger guys so they can learn some on the job. But as it relates to Cousins, are you high on him or not? Or are you out altogether? Type in H for your high. You still think he's the guy at QB. Or type L for, maybe that's not the guy you want anymore. Here are the last 4 seasons of Kirk Cousins, by the way. The numbers are not bad. Kirk Cousins, for me, falls in the Ryan Tannehill category. He is, the alternative could be so much worse. He's probably in the Derek Carr category as well. You're, of course, paying him quite a bit of money. But you're still just hoping for a little bit more, And unless things are perfect, right, I'm kind of like in the Jimmy G category, although I think Kirk's at the top of that list. I don't know if it's ever going to get good enough for him. And meanwhile, behind Kirk Cousins, there's nothing of note. I don't believe Kellen Mond is the guy. As a result, you're in a pretty dicey situation if you're Minnesota. Big decision coming as it relates for the future of Kirk Cousins on this team.